This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. He sexually abused 2 children. Now he's going to prison. It's a potentially precedent-setting 25-year sentence for what the judge called gut-wrenching abuse. Normally, these victims would not be identified, but both are speaking publicly, saying it's important not just for them, but other survivors. CBC's Caitlin Gowerluck was in court and has more, but first, a warning. This story has details of childhood sexual abuse.
This whole journey, like the past 5 years, has been absolutely nuts.
Siblings Raven Dominic and Jeffrey Gobet talk about being sexually abused as kids. They came forward 5 years ago. This is the end of their court case. The man convicted of abusing them sent to prison for 25 years.
If you had told me 5 years ago that we would be here today, I would not have believed you. I wouldn't even thought it was possible.
I'm still in the shock of it all. It was kind of an immediate release to know that once the sentencing's done, today's the last day I'll ever see him in person.
They were between 2 and 8 years old. The father of their half-siblings repeatedly sexually abused them. Thomas Martin Butler was convicted after a trial last year. In a case like this, there's usually a ban on identifying the victims, but the Gobet siblings wanted their names and faces out there to show there's no shame in speaking out.
It would not have made sense to me to go through this as being anonymous. It's just not. I understand why people would do it. It has been a lot, but if it helps other people draw courage, then it was worth it, in my opinion.
The judge who heard the case said the events the siblings described were horrendous. He said both Raven and Jeffrey are to be commended for their achievements in life, despite having endured the unthinkable abuse. They were resilient, grew stronger with age, and finally, when they were ready, they had the courage to seek out justice. Raven Dominic is now a lawyer, Jeffrey a social worker and comedian. While their case is now dealt with, they say other people have started coming forward to them, sharing their own stories of abuse.
That's why it was important. All 10 individuals who have approached me, I will carry that with me. And I anticipate more will be telling me and disclosing to me. And I think that's been the most impactful to me during this whole thing.
Butler's defense is considering whether to appeal the sentence. Caitlin Gowerluck, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Manitoba's top doctor is watching over a meningitis outbreak in the United Kingdom that's left at least 2 people dead. The UK has seen at least 20 confirmed cases of meningococcal disease this month. The life-threatening bacterial infection can infect the brain and spinal cord, causing meningitis. Chief Health Officer Dr. Brent Rusin says cases in Manitoba have risen in recent years, spiking to 24 last year. So far, there's been 2 here this year. Rusin says it is a serious and contagious disease.
Certainly, we see fatalities related to that. It can have severe neurologic complications for those that survive. So it is certainly an illness that is to be taken very seriously and acted upon very quickly.
A vaccine is available in Manitoba for the disease that causes meningitis. Children can get the first dose covering 4 strains of the illness starting at 12 months old. Health advocates are calling for more transparency when it comes to for-profit plasma collection. It comes after it was revealed that 3 people in Manitoba died after giving plasma in the last decade. Last year, a 22-year-old international student died after she was paid for plasma at a Winnipeg Grifols Plasma Donation Centre. The Canadian Health Coalition says at a federal recent standing committee, Grifols officials failed to fully answer questions.
And no more secret deals when it comes to our blood supply. The agreement between Canadian Blood Services and Grifols must be made public. And finally, we need stronger oversight, better data, and real accountability to ensure that donor safety is never compromised.
Meantime, the coalition is calling for a provincial judicial inquest into paid-for plasma donations in the province. A Winnipeg defense lawyer already suspended from practicing is now accused of smuggling cannabis into jail. Chad Sutherland was arrested last week following a year-long investigation. RCMP say correctional officers noted a strong cannabis smell at Headingley Correctional Centre last March. It led to the 43-year-old being charged with conspiracy to smuggle cannabis, among other charges. 2 other people are also facing charges in connection. Earlier this year, the Law Society indefinitely suspended Sutherland for professional misconduct. For 1 year, Manitobans were off the hook for paying the provincial gas tax, a temporary savings of 14 cents a litre. It's a move the Premier says was the most important thing a Manitoba government has ever done. But not everyone agrees. CBC's Bartley Kivas reports.
Do you think Manitoba's gas tax holiday, when Wabkinu's government suspended the 14 cents per litre gas tax for 2024, was more important than giving women the right to vote in Manitoba? Or creating the Red River floodway that diverts water around the city of Winnipeg and saves the province billions? Manitoba Premier Wabkinu does. During a scrum at the federal NDP convention in Winnipeg on Sunday, former NDP MLA Marianne Sorelli questioned Kanu about Manitoba's gas tax holiday. Here's what Kanu said in response.
It's like the gas tax, which was the most important thing that a provincial government ever did in the history of Manitoba, because it gave power back to the middle class.
Manitoba progressive conservatives say Kanu's comment makes them sound out of touch. They suggested more important moves made by Manitoba governments.
I think one of the first ones is no doubt would be women having the opportunity to vote.
U of M political scientist Christopher Adams says he thinks if Kanu had more time to think about it, he would have said something different.
There was likely just in the moment of exuberance, but I can't really, after careful thought, I'm sure that he wouldn't be able to continue saying that.
Kanu didn't want to speak. Spokesperson Ryan Stelter said the Premier stands by his Sunday comments about the gas tax holiday. Bartley Kivas, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Some of wrestling's biggest stars are taking over Canada Life Centre on Wednesday night with All Elite Wrestling. And for at least one of them, it's a very special homecoming. CBC's Gavin Axelrod has more.
Follows up.
Before Kenny Omega was wrestling on live TV every week, he was here
at the East Kildonan Y. He's an intelligent, unassuming 22-year-old. Omega!
Under his wrestling name, Omega comes home again Wednesday to wrestle his first televised match in Winnipeg since diverticulitis nearly derailed his career in 2023.
I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to be in a position to ever do anything physical in the world of professional wrestling. So it really is almost a celebration.
Omega has won championships in places including the US, Japan, and Mexico. He's also won awards like Wrestler and Match of the Year. John Pollock with Post Wrestling says he's created a wrestling legacy.
Kenny Omega has been like this really great story of this Canadian wrestler that has greatly overachieved on a worldwide scale within pro wrestling.
Omega is part of All Elite Wrestling, which formed in 2019.
We're sort of like the alternative. We're not quite WWE, and we're not an indie either. We're just kind of AEW, and what we try to be is the most fun live show that you can watch.
And this guy's an animal!
Omega isn't the only Winnipegger in the promotion.
Are you ready for this? Are you ready?
Don Callis and the Don Callis family are some of AEW's biggest villains. Unlike Omega, he's not so happy to be home.
Even walking through the airport, I had 3 different people recognize me. 2 of them asked me for a loan. They want money. It's just, that's what it's like when I come back here. A lot of requests for tickets, people I haven't seen since university or high school. So yeah, the best thing about Winnipeg is leaving it.
He does have some nice things to say about what fans are in for Wednesday.
Winnipeg understands what the best is, not in hockey sadly, but they do understand it in wrestling. And so I think you can expect to walk out of that show, that AEW show, and say, man, that was amazing.
One punch, flip, suplex, and super kick at a time. Gavin Axelrod, CBC News, Winnipeg.
All right, let's bring in weather specialist Riley Lachuk. And Riley, it was really slippery out there today. And for those who saw, very funny for them when I bailed out there. So be careful outside.
Yeah, particularly, Brittany, with that little bit of light snow that we saw through last night into the early morning hours today, covering up some of that ice. all part of that freeze-thaw through the changing seasons that we've gone through here. Still a little bit of extra cloud cover into the Red River Valley and eastern parts of the province, but high pressure setting in back to the west, and that will set us up for some clearing as we get through the night. And even on the very edge of some of this cloud cover, a couple of scattered flurries into parts of the Interlake through the later afternoon hours. So not quite done with it. Temperatures, though, a bit closer to seasonal, up to -2 in Winnipeg this afternoon. -4s through Brandon, Melita, really around the freezing mark for much of the province throughout the day today. As we get through the night, a bit cooler, we get a mostly clear sky, almost full moon in the sky as well. An easterly light wind could mean some fog patches through the night tonight. A mostly sunny sky first thing in the morning at -12. And then we'll start to get some cloud cover building back in as we get through the back half of the day. A bit warmer tomorrow afternoon, but there is a bit of weather on the way for some parts of the province. I'll talk about that when I come back.
All right. Thank you, Riley.
Welcome.
Coming up, a Steinbach organization wants to bring an Indigenous lens to the city's new safety plan. We'll have more on that after the break. A Steinbach organization says the city's new safety plan needs to include an Indigenous perspective. Steinbach is the first of 12 rural communities and First Nations to complete a safety and well-being plan. Now it's got funding to implement it, and this group says it can help. CBC's Christopher Garreau reports.
As Steinbach rolls out its new safety and well-being plan, aiming to bolster response to issues from homelessness to inclusion to policing, Mino Odewin, an Indigenous advocacy group, is offering to help.
Not that we're replacing any of the support agencies in town, but that we bring that Indigenous perspective to the table.
Mino Odewin works to bridge the divide between Mennonite and Indigenous people. The group connected with Theo Osborne and his family earlier this year. The 11-year-old First Nation student was bullied and assaulted at school in an attack his family says was racially motivated. Bambi Berthlet went to meetings with the school and Theo's mother.
It's kind of part of our job to bring that to the table too. Like, do you realize that this person has been actually dealing with the school system for the last 5 years? And what you're seeing here isn't just someone being upset today by the current situation.
In 2022, the province announced 6 rural communities and 6 First Nations would create plans to find solutions for crime and social issues. 17 Southeast organizations put together Steinbach's plan. Mino Odewin is not one of those groups. But Mayor Earl Funk says he welcomes more voices at the table.
I do believe we need to work together to make sure that we are always including all people in everything. And that's very important because we are a blended community.
Curtis Barron's moved to Steinbach and feels safer than when he had lived in downtown Winnipeg. Originally from Barron's River First Nation, he agrees more cultural awareness is needed.
No one cares about that stuff now. Like, I'm being mean about it. Like, all people don't talk about that stuff that much. Like, my favorite thing, like, long dead now. Yeah. I think so.
Mino Odewin wants to help create a foot patrol, homeless shelter, detox center, and more.
We kind of joke about it that we need to make some farmer sausage bannock dogs because, I mean, food is how we connect as people, right?
The mayor says a committee of service providers will be formed to make sure all priorities are met. Christopher Garreau, CBC News, Steinbach.
A Manitoba teacher has been stripped of his teaching certificate after admitting to meeting up with a student and giving them alcohol and marijuana. David Duke was a teacher in the Frontier School Division. Manitoba's Commissioner of Teacher Professional Conduct says Duke used social media to communicate with an underage high school student in September of 2025. He admitted meeting with the student and providing them with alcohol and cannabis. Well, the report says the teacher was on leave and not teaching. The school division claims he was retired at the time. New health guidelines for Canadian doctors are linking heart disease with stroke and even dementia, urging a more integrated approach to screening and care. As Jennifer Lagrasso reports, it's a welcome update for many, but not everyone is convinced the guidance goes far enough.
What a great day. There's not a cloud anywhere.
When she was only 38 years old, Patrice Lindsay had a stroke.
I went from being normal and healthy to not being able to move any of my left side, not being able to speak. Anybody who's already experienced...
It was caused by a blood clot in her brain. She was at higher risk because of a hole in her heart, doctors later discovered. Recent research suggests she's also at greater risk for dementia.
Helping to promote the connection between the heart and brain is so important to me. It always has been.
Now at 62, she helped draft a new guideline for Canadian doctors alongside a panel of experts focusing on the link between the heart and the brain.
I think many people aren't aware that if they have heart disease, they are potentially at risk for having a stroke or cognitive impairment.
The 11 recommendations include checking patients with an irregular heartbeat for dementia, testing those with heart disease for depression, and intensely treating high blood pressure to lower the risk of dementia.
It will help providers identify things earlier and initiate treatment earlier.
This family doctor worries screening will be a time-consuming challenge and thinks the guidelines left out a key issue that impacts both heart and brain health.
A future recommendation should address diabetes, which is common, treatable, and preventable.
While Lindsay wants this to change doctors' approach to heart issues, she also hopes it educates patients.
It's important that people with any of these conditions be aware of the relationship and start asking and start advocating for themselves. Being so nice and sunny out, we thought we'd barbecue.
Knowing that the sooner they can identify an issue, the better chance they have of keeping it at bay. Jennifer LaGrassa, CBC News, Windsor, Ontario.
All right, Riley back in now, and it is a short week for most people with Easter coming up this weekend, and maybe a little early Easter treat in the weather,
Yeah.
maybe?
And not of the chocolate variety.
Fortunately, no.
Unfortunately not. Yeah, we are on tap to maybe get some snow by the end of the week. Not for everywhere in Manitoba, but certainly parts of the south could be in for some snow. So we'll walk you through that. Let's take a look at where things sit right now. High pressure starting to build in over the border between Manitoba and Saskatchewan. That's pushed south through the day today. And what that has done is really introduce some clearing, not just on the Saskatchewan side of the border, but really through parts of western Manitoba. This should help to get us into some clear breaks tonight on the eastern side of the province as well as we get through the night tonight. But can't rule out, just with some of the moisture that we've seen, some of that cloud cover, the potential for some fog patches. Pretty generally across the south, I think the Interlake tonight has the best chance of seeing some of that fog as we get through the early morning hours tomorrow. Then as we start Wednesday, mix of sun and clouds pretty generally across the province. A weak trough pushes across the north. This does bring some scattered flurries to places like Flin Flon. Lynn Lake has the best chance into Thompson, for example, as we get through the day. But you'll notice some cloud cover starting to build in as we get into the early morning hours on Thursday. Now, this is all associated with a Colorado low that's developing south of the border. And as that pushes northeast, this at the very least into Thursday, Friday introduces some cloud cover across southern Manitoba. But there is the chance, there is still not a lot of certainty with the forecast models on this one, on the exact track this takes as we get through the back half of the week. So this particular forecast model, the in-house one, is pushing most of the snow into Minnesota and into northwestern Ontario, but southeastern Manitoba, really along Highway 75, even into Morden Winkler, looking at a chance of seeing some light snow late Thursday into Friday. Winnipeg, I've got this as a slim chance of some flurries right now, but again, it'll all depend on that track as we get through the back half of the week. I've layered on the European and the American forecast models to give you a different look at this. This one in particular does push some of the snow a bit further westward and a bit further north. So in this scenario, as we get overnight into Friday, could bring Winnipeg into some light snow, for example. But the most of the impact will be into northwestern Ontario and that southeastern corner of the province, and certainly south of the border, where parts of North Dakota and Minnesota could be in for even up to 15 centimeters of snow by the time the week is out. And then there's a second system in behind this that'll give parts of the Dakotas even more snow as we get into the Easter weekend. So temperatures back on this side of the border as we get into the day on Wednesday. First thing looking at around -12 in Winnipeg and Brandon, -13 into Dauphin, really around the -10 mark through much of northern Manitoba as well. We'll try for 1 degree tomorrow afternoon. We'll keep things pretty stable as we end the week into the long weekend, and then we'll get a bit of sunshine back as we get into Saturday and Sunday.
The weather update is brought to you by Paul Davis Property Restoration Experts. When things go wrong, we do what's right.
Royal Manitoba Winter Fair as we head to break. We've got much more ahead. Stay with us. The war with Iran seems to be pulling the U.S. and Europe even further apart. President Donald Trump and his Secretary of War are now both openly deriding some of their traditional allies, even suggesting there may be payback one day for not doing more to support Washington's mission in the Mideast. Megan Fitzpatrick reports.
President Trump is lashing out at European leaders, saying they aren't cooperating enough with the American and Israeli-led war in Iran. Writing on his social media platform, Trump accused France of preventing Israeli planes from flying over its territory. France has been very unhelpful, Trump wrote, and the USA will remember, he vowed. Next, he criticized countries who rely on oil shipments from the Strait of Hormuz. The crucial shipping corridor is virtually shut down due to Iran's threats to attack oil tankers passing through. That's caused global oil prices to soar, and on Tuesday, gas prices in the U.S. reached a new high since the war started, a national average of $4 U.S. per gallon. Trump's advice to the United Kingdom and others: buy oil from the U.S. and also build up some delayed courage, go to the Strait and just take it. You'll have to start learning how to fight for yourself. The USA won't be there to help you anymore, just like you weren't there for us. Go get your own oil. It's not the first time Trump has complained about NATO allies, and his frustration was echoed by Secretary of War Pete Hegseth.
When we ask for additional assistance or simple access basing and overflight, we get questions or roadblocks or hesitations. And the president's pointing out, you don't have much of an alliance if you have countries that are not willing to stand with you when you need them. And he's simply pointing that out, and ultimately it'll be his decision of what that looks like after this is complete.
Though Hegseth didn't single out any countries, there are reports that France, Italy, and Spain have resisted U.S. requests for support in recent days. He claimed more ships are being allowed to traverse the strait this week compared to last, but shipping in the region remains a risky activity. Iran is being blamed for attacking a Kuwaiti oil tanker near Dubai Monday night. Hegseth said negotiations with Iran are active and gaining strength, and while a peace deal is the preference, the U.S. will negotiate with bombs until one is reached. Megan Fitzpatrick, CBC News, Washington.
King Charles and Queen Camilla are set to make their first state visit to the United States late next month. Buckingham Palace says their program will celebrate the historic connections and the modern bilateral relationship between the UK and the US. The visit coincides with the 250th anniversary of American independence. Following the U.S. visit, the King is set to travel to Bermuda for his first royal visit as monarch to a British overseas territory. The palace says it will confirm the exact dates closer to the time. A day after the Pope said that God rejects the prayers of leaders who start wars, Leo, the first American-born pontiff, has made a rare, direct appeal to U.S. President Donald Trump about the conflict with Iran. He spoke with journalists outside his residence near Rome.
I'm told that President Trump recently stated that he would like to end the war. Hopefully he's looking for an off-ramp. Hopefully he's looking for a way to decrease the amount of violence, of bombing, which would be a significant contribution to removing the hatred that's being created and that's increasing constantly in the Middle East and elsewhere. So I would certainly continue to give this call to all leaders of the world to say, come back to the table for dialogue. Let's look for solutions to problems.
New data released by Statistics Canada shows the economy rebounded in the first few months of the year. Yet despite the good news, there is cause for concern. Peter Armstrong explains.
This is pretty modest growth, but the fact that Canada was able to eke out even a small 0.1% gain in GDP is both good news and something of a surprise. These numbers look back at the state of the Canadian economy in January, and back then we were dealing with pretty run-of-the-mill crises, trade wars, tariffs, uncertainties. But this gives us a sense of how well positioned the economy was to absorb this latest shock in terms of the war in Iran. Growth was led by mining, quarrying, and oil and gas extraction. But the weakness we were fighting throughout last year is the weakness that showed up in bright, flashing red in this report. Manufacturing is the sector most obviously and most painfully targeted by tariffs. As a sector, manufacturing was down 1.4% in January, but motor vehicle manufacturing, that was down a staggering 23.5%. Now, part of that was due to a seasonal shift that idles factories. Statistics Canada also highlighted the winter storms in January made transportation more difficult, but it's clear the pain in the auto industry is only getting more pronounced, especially so when you layer in the uncertainty and supply chain disruption caused by the war in Iran. It's not just driving up gasoline prices, though Canadians are feeling that pretty acutely right now. There are a whole suite of goods that should have been coming out of the Persian Gulf that have been disrupted. One of the biggest disruptions is to the global supply of helium. Helium is crucially used as a coolant during semiconductor manufacturing. The auto industry was already struggling with a chip shortage when the war began. That is now set to worsen. This war will weaken the Canadian economy further. It will drive up inflation. So even that modest bit of growth we saw in January is important to helping the Canadian economy weather this next storm. Peter Armstrong, CBC News, Toronto.
Just south of Shanghai, an electric vehicle factory operates with most of its lights out. It's an automated manufacturing facility where hundreds of robotic arms build electric cars. Lisa Sheng looks at what these so-called dark factories could mean for Canada.
We're at the Zeekr factory in Ningbo, China. It's owned by Chinese EV company Geely. It is setting standards globally in automation and efficiency in electric vehicle manufacturing. And that's just one reason, a big reason why China is dominating the electric vehicle market worldwide. This is what's known as a dark factory, meaning the level of automation in these robots is so high that they don't need lights to work, and they can work for 24 hours a day, including in the dark. Now, there are hundreds of robots here, many on the factory floor, taking parts to various areas of the building. Others, like this one here, are doing the complicated work of welding. Now, there are factories in other parts of the world that produce more cars, but very few, like this one here, that produce this many cars, about 1,200 a day, with very few people. All of this that you see on the factory floor has suddenly become very important for Canada. Starting in March, the Canadian government has allowed 49,000 Chinese-made electric vehicles into the country and potentially up to 70,000 within 5 years. Now, that gives Canadians a lot more choice when they're buying cars. While no Chinese electric vehicle company has come out and definitively said that they're wanting to enter the Canadian market, we know that at least Zeekr has applied and received a patent for their brand in Canada. And so not before long, what we see here could mean a lot for Canadians because of Chinese-made EVs and their competitive price point. And that has the potential to be disruptive to the Canadian automotive industry. Lisa Sheng, CBC News, Ningbo, China.
Italy is investigating 2 global beauty brands, including Sephora, for allegedly marketing anti-aging products to children. The country's competition authority says they're helping fuel an unhealthy obsession with skincare in kids younger than 10. And one look online reveals just how big this trend has become. Yasmin Renea has more.
Sephora. It's all over social media. Young girls showing off expensive makeup and skincare products.
I use collagen every day because I really don't want those wrinkles. I got it in Korea.
You're 12.
Yes, and?
And your mom told me you have a 20-step skincare routine. Is that true?
Basically, yeah.
The craze now prompting Italy's competition authority to investigate global beauty brands Sephora and Benefit Cosmetics, accusing them of trying to sell anti-aging treatment to kids, some 10 or younger. The companies appear to have adopted an insidious marketing strategy, the regulator says, fueling an obsession with skincare among minors.
It's really hard for young people to be able to tell where sponsorship or branding ends and where authentic content starts.
Among the alleged practices, companies using young influencers to promote their products, sometimes without clear indication they're being compensated.
There's supposed to be labels on these ads, but we're finding that a lot of times ads aren't labeled.
Dermatologists warn some products are harsh and are not meant for children.
486 is the rest.
Thank you.
Still, many parents, including here in Canada, are spending hundreds of dollars on products for their young kids.
I never really touched skincare until I did get TikTok.
It kind of worries me because I think you shouldn't be thinking about, skincare and how, if you want to use the kid makeup for fun, if you're 10, that makes sense.
Yeah. They don't really need it until they're older.
In Canada, rules around advertising age-restricted products like nicotine or alcohol to children are clear, but one expert says anti-aging skincare products are more of a gray area, something they say Canada may need to address in the near future. Yasmin Ranea, CBC News, Vancouver.
Former politician, diplomat, and activist Stephen Lewis has died at age 88. Lewis was a former leader of the Ontario NDP, Canadian ambassador to the United Nations, and a longtime journalist and environmental activist. In a statement, the Lewis family says that he died peacefully in hospice care in Toronto in the early hours Tuesday. His death comes 2 days after his son, Avi Lewis, was elected leader of the federal NDP. For the first time in more than 50 years, NASA is going to the moon if all goes to plan. Artemis II will blast off tomorrow with a Canadian on board. We will have more on that straight ahead. Stay with us. NASA's first lunar mission in more than 50 years with humans on board is now just hours away from launch. After weeks of delays, Artemis II is scheduled to take off from Florida's Cape Canaveral Wednesday, with Canada's Jeremy Hansen among the crew. Karen Pauls has details about their planned trip around the moon.
The countdown to launch has officially begun for NASA's Artemis II mission to the moon. The first launch opportunity opens on Wednesday, a 2-hour window starting at 6:24 p.m. Eastern Time. The big factor, weather. Despite high wind and clouds in the forecast, NASA's optimistic.
When I see an 80% chance of go and a 2-hour window, I feel pretty good about our chances.
If the weather doesn't cooperate, they can try again every day until April 6th. This mission has already been delayed twice for mechanical reasons, but with repairs done, officials are confident.
The vehicle's ready, the system is ready, the crew is ready.
The 10-day mission will send the 4 astronauts further from the Earth than anyone has ever gone, about 7,400 kilometers beyond the far side of the moon, with Earth nearly 400,000 kilometers in the background. Their return through the Earth's atmosphere also expected to be the fastest ever. Pilot Victor Glover will become the first person of color to head into deep space, Christina Cook, the first woman, and Jeremy Hansen, the first Canadian. He's bringing along Indigenous teachings.
I'm wearing a Canadian patch here that was designed by an Anishinaabe artist, and it just represents some of the beauty of Indigenous culture and their perspective on the moon.
The Indigenous artist who designed it is thrilled.
All of this world to recognize the Indigenous knowledge and to share it with the world.
This mission is meant to prove the Orion spacecraft's life support systems can sustain crew for an eventual landing on the moon. That's now scheduled for 2028. The ultimate goal? Exploring Mars. But for now, the focus is on getting this mission off the ground. Karen Pauls, CBC News, Winnipeg.
So what do they hope to learn on this trip, and how is Canada contributing? Philip Ferguson is the director of Star Lab, an associate professor of mechanical engineering at the University of Manitoba. Earlier, he spoke with Julie Buckingham about how important this mission is.
We have never sent humans this far away since 1972. This is a really big deal, and it's a big deal for Canada also because we have a Canadian astronaut on board. It's so exciting.
Okay, so why is this so critical at this point?
So this is critical because we all are thinking a lot about what's next for human exploration of space. So we all have great sights set on Mars, but we need to learn to crawl before we can walk. And so we need to get to the moon first to try this out, to understand how to do things on a different planet. Now, the moon's not really a different planet, but it's close enough. And we can try out life support systems. We can try out exploration systems. We can learn more about what kind of rocks are on the moon and how we can make fuel and get water and survive on a different planet. So this is an important stepping stone to the next phase of human exploration.
So 1972, I'm not going to tell any tales out of school, but I was in diapers, So why has it been so long since NASA said, well, we'll go back?
Well, I think, in the early days of the space race, we were really just laser focused on beating the Russians to the moon. And as I think we did that, and then we thought, you know what, there's a lot of important things that we can do in low Earth orbit to support life here on Earth, like remote sensing and communications and basic space science. And so I think we had a lot to learn about just how to live in space. And the International Space Station has done that. Of course, Canada has played a huge role on the International Space Station, putting all the space robots there. We've had several astronauts live and work on the International Space Station. So this is now kind of our next best step. We just heard this big announcement from NASA last week that they're going to invest $20 billion on a lunar base now, which is huge, and Canada will play a big robotics role there. So it's important that we have our astronauts out there starting this week.
Do you think there's a role for what you do at the University of Manitoba and your students in some of that?
100%. So we're so excited at Star Lab to be working with Magellan Aerospace to build Canada's first ever satellite to orbit the moon. This is a a satellite called MAPPER, and it's part of the mineral mission that Magellan is leading. And Magellan and the Canadian Space Agency have put their trust in the University of Manitoba and our students at Starlab to build this first ever satellite. It's going to be the size of a toaster. Actually, later today, I'm flying to Montreal to have a meeting with the Canadian Space Agency and do our first design review of this spacecraft, and my students will be with me there too. And I mean, when I think back to me as a student many years ago, and the experiences that I had, they pale in comparison to what our students are going through today. Literally making spacecraft to go to the moon. I mean, it can't be more exciting than that, right?
Any idea when this fancy toaster could be headed there?
Yeah, our lunar toaster will be launching in about 2028 as part of another NASA mission. It'll communicate with a NASA lander, and Magellan Aerospace is building a little, what we call a lawn dart, a little impactor probe that's going to bury itself into the lunar dust and get science back. I mean, it's I sometimes I have to pinch myself, right? So, I mean, we're going to be watching Jeremy launch tomorrow. Jeremy's going to come back and inform us all about what he saw around the moon, and we're going to use that information in collaboration with Indigenous students in Winnipeg and around Manitoba to learn how to navigate. So using the same kind of navigation skills that Indigenous people have been using for centuries on Lake Winnipeg in the middle of the winter, we're going to learn from that. And we're going to learn how to navigate around the moon with information from Jeremy too.
It's fascinating. Is there any other Canadian content involved with this mission?
The mission tomorrow?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, aside from Jeremy being on the mission, which is huge. I mean, Jeremy is not only the first Canadian to go around the moon, he's the first person that's not American to go around the moon too. So I mean that holds a huge spot. I heard an interview with Jeremy just yesterday saying that he feels like he has the weight of the entire world on his shoulders because he's representing the first international person to the moon. So I mean it's huge. I always like to remind people that the first thing that ever touched the surface of the moon on the Apollo 11 landing was Canadian. Canada built the landing legs for the Apollo 11 lander. So Canada has a really important role to play. We're important in space communications, space remote sensing, and now of course lunar robotics.
So what will Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen's role be in this mission?
Yeah, so he, like the other three astronauts, are going to be really doing a shakedown of this space capsule. This is the first time that this capsule has ever had people in it. So they have to test out the life support systems, the propulsion systems. They have to make sure that they can point the spacecraft where it needs to point. They're going to be testing out their navigation systems. And it's all on it's a risky mission, no question. They're going to the other side of the moon, but it's not as risky as the next mission, which will go into orbit around the moon. This is really just going to be a little slingshot maneuver to kind of whip around the back of the moon. But depending on the day that they launch, they could be the furthest ever humans to ever be away from Earth.
The weather update is brought to you by Paul Davis Property Restoration Experts. When things go wrong, we do what's right.
All right, well, very excited for that tomorrow. And the weather, the forecast plays a huge role in this. If all goes according to plan and Mother Nature plays along, this will be happening around just a couple, 20 minutes ago or so tomorrow.
Yeah.
About this time.
Yeah, around this time tomorrow, we could be looking at that launch happening, Brittany. And yes, you're right. All eyes are on the weather for this one right now. So I've got a bit of information for you. I'll show it to you. We'll get to the dog walking forecast in a moment, but I just want to walk you through sort of some of the unknowns. So right now, at least as it stands as we head into Tuesday evening here, looking at the temperature for launch time around 24 degrees at the Kennedy Space Center. Winds sustained at about 20 kilometers an hour. That is well within that range for that launch to take place. 5:24 p.m. Central is when the window opens tomorrow, 6:24 Eastern, and that window extends for a couple of hours beyond that. So there's a little bit of time at play here. You may have seen a version of this on Karen's story just a few minutes ago, but this is a bit of a closer look at the precipitation forecast, and all eyes will be on the development of some scattered showers, maybe some isolated thunderstorms near Cape Canaveral as we get through the afternoon. This is 1 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. All of this begins to clear out as we get through the later afternoon, but the question will be how quickly some of this clears out in time for that launch window to open just after 6 o'clock. So this particular forecast model does show that clearing taking place, but it's all about how quickly this pushes westward as we get into the evening hours tomorrow. So conditions perhaps may actually be a bit more favorable as we approach the back end of that launch window around 8:30 Eastern or so tomorrow evening. So all eyes will be on the weather for that. I know a lot of folks will be watching the weather as we head toward the long weekend in our province as well. Let's take a look at your dog walking forecast. Tonight, we go outside the city to two purebred Labradors who are living up life at Cooks Creek. Sam and Ezra looking like they're enjoying what is left of the winter snow. Thank you, Natasha, for sending this picture, and you can send yours to talkback@cbc.ca. So by the afternoon, looking at temperatures around 1 degree in Winnipeg. We'll see some cloud cover building back in. A quick look at your overnight forecast across the province, looking at temperatures around -15 as we get through southern Manitoba. Northern Manitoba, much the same, -11 to -15 or so for much of the north. A few flurries coming as we get through the day. Temperatures in northern Manitoba actually popping up above the freezing mark as we get through the afternoon tomorrow. 3 degrees in Thompson, bit of extra cloud cover, and there's that chance of flurries as we get through the day. And in southern Manitoba, temperatures hovering around the freezing mark. We'll get some clearing as we start the day with some cloud cover, Brittany, building in as we get through the back end of the day.
All right, thanks, Riley.
You're welcome.
Well, still ahead, would you take the chance to get up close and personal with a T-Rex? We'll show you how that could soon be a possibility. More on that after the break. There will soon be more options for taking the bus after midnight. Winnipeg Transit's spring schedule will see 10 bus routes get longer late-night hours. Bus service will also be increased on some of the busier routes starting April 12th. Others will see a reduction in frequency due to lower than expected ridership. The changes come after rider feedback following the transit system overhaul last summer. You can find specific information on routes that are changing on the city's website.
All right, I know our moon has kind of been in the spotlight because of the Artemis II mission and that launch window that opens up as we get through the later afternoon into the evening hours on Wednesday. But there's also another reason to keep your eyes on the moon, and that is our April full moon, which peaks as we get into the evening hours Wednesday overnight into Thursday morning. This one called the pink moon, not because the moon will look pink, but because this signals this change in seasons and the blooms and everything that happen as we get into spring. So watch for that. I mean, I think in southern Manitoba, at least, things will be cloudy for that full moon as we get through into the back half of Wednesday into Thursday, but certainly parts of northern Manitoba likely going to see a big bright moon as we head into Thursday morning. Temperatures stay around the freezing mark as we get through the balance of the week. I'm watching that system into Thursday, Friday, and things get brighter for the weekend. Well, if you don't have a time machine handy, there's another way to experience what it's like to walk among dinosaurs.
Not sure any of us would be walking, maybe running, maybe frozen in fear. You decide, but that's your daily lift.
Now,
there he goes.
Wow.
The Age of Dinosaurs is a virtual reality experience where people get a 360-degree view of being immersed in a prehistoric world. The technology captures the user's motion.
Now, it allows them to feel like they're interacting with these extinct animals. This is an early preview ahead of the VR company's Friday launch, which will include several major cities in Canada.
You know, I love dinosaur movies. Big fan of Jurassic Park. Not sure I would want to walk among them, though.
I think it would be kind of cool, although I'm one of those people that gets jump scared really easily, so I probably wouldn't do very well with
Virtually
that.
okay, in person, not so much.
Maybe not.
We hope you have a wonderful night. Be careful out there. It is slippery.
Yes.
We'll see you back here tomorrow.
See.